Hello, this is Atulia Bardia, and welcome to my second review. This is the review of the second games of the first round of the NBA playoffs. So I'm going to jump right in because this is going to be a longer video. 1 versus 8 seeds in the West is now 2-0 in favor of the Golden State Warriors after they won 115 to 106. The main asset for the Warriors was Klay Thompson, who scored 34 points as the starting guard. And because Steph Curry could not play because of his injury, he had to step up. Harrison Barnes, however, underperformed tremendously, going 1 for 10 from the field. On the Rockets side, James Harden scored 28 points and had 11 assists, but everyone else did pretty bad, including Trevor Ariza, who went 3 for 10 from the field and 1 for 5 from threes. So what the Rockets need to do from now on is try to feed Dwight more. If he's going to prove that he's a top 10 or top 5 even center in the NBA, he has to be getting the ball a lot more than how he's getting it right now. And Golden State has to keep doing what they're doing, and hopefully Stephen Curry will be back for the next game, but if he can't play, just keep doing what they're doing. Surprisingly, however, the 2v7 in the West is one of the most one-sided series in the entire NBA. The Spurs won their first game by 32 points, winning 106 to 74, completely demolishing the Grizzlies. Kawhi Leonard received his Defensive Player of the Year trophy and went for 20 points, 4 steals, and 3 blocks. The one problem for the Spurs was Danny Green, who only managed 3 points. The Grizzlies, however, all they got was from half man, half amazing. Vince Carter scored 16 points, went 6 for 7 from the field, but Zach Randolph, their main key player, only went 3 for 13 from the field, accounting for 6 points. The second game was better, but not by much. Zach Randolph made himself better by scoring 11 points and grabbing 12 boards, but Harrison Barnes this time, along with the rest of the team, underperformed tremendously. Harrison Barnes especially scoring 9 points, going 3 for 11 from the field. On the Spurs, everyone basically played well. One person who stood out was Patty Mills, who went 4 for 6 from 3. And one person who stood out in the wrong way was Tim Duncan, who had his first playoff game without a made field goal. What the Spurs need to change is basically nothing. This is going to be a walk in the park. And there's nothing the Grizzlies can really change either, because their main problems come from the injuries to Marc Gasol and Mike Conley. So there's nothing much they can really do. But one thing that they can hope is try to get the grindhouse going. A win in Game 3 would be very beneficial for the Grizzlies. They have to prove that they're actually a team to contend with, even without their best 2 players. Now, this is a scene that you guys must have seen hundreds of times over the past few days, and it's the reason why the 3-6 is the closest series in the West. The Mavs won because Steven Adams' tip was 0.2 seconds too late. However, the Mavs actually deserved to win that game. Raymond Felton went for 21 points and 11 rebounds. However, he did miss the 2 free throws, which allowed Steven Adams to even have a chance of winning that game. For the Mavs, Zaza Pachulia underperformed, went 1 for 6 from the field, and got blocked twice. What the Mavs have to do to keep winning is to keep attacking the basket. The Thunder, on the other hand, it was a very pitiful game for them. It's more of a fluke loss than anything, not much to change. Westbrook was their best player, but not even by much. 19 points and 14 rebounds, but 8 for 22 from the field. Durant was the standout, having the worst shooting performance in the last 30 years, missing 26 shots, going 7 for 33 from the field. Absolutely pitiful game for both of them, and a game that I assume the Thunder will soon forget. Going to Dallas, hopefully for Mavs fans, the American Airlines Center can be livid, and the Mavs can win at least one, if not both of the home games, but winning one itself is a stretch. The Clippers weren't expected to be so good, but in the 4-5 matchup, they were absolutely destroying the Portland Trailblazers. In the first game, they won 115 to 96, and CP3 went off going for 28 points and 11 assists. On the Trailblazers side, they've been led all season by their starting point guard Damian Lillard, who scored 21 points, had 1 steal, and 8 assists. However, their main man throughout the entire season, in addition to Damian Lillard, has been the other starting guard, CJ McCollum, but he had a very bad game in the first game, going for 9 points and 3 for 11 field goals. For the Clippers, nothing much went wrong except for DeAndre Jordan's first free throw. Now, while DeAndre Jordan had that one bad free throw where he missed the basket by about 3 feet, he did make it up in the second game with a beautiful stuff on Damian Lillard right at the rim. That game, the Clippers won 102 to 81. CP3 scored 25 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists. He's absolutely determined to lead this team past the second round for the first time in his career. DeAndre Jordan had another bad game, only going 1 for 6 from the field, 1 for 6 from the free throw line. But the 18 rebounds did really make up for it. Mason Plumlee put up a show for the Trailblazers, going 17 points and 10 rebounds, but Al-Farouq Aminu, the new signing from Dallas, went 1 for 7 from 3 and 4 for 13 from the field, so not a very good game for him. For the Portland Trailblazers, the only thing that they can do at this point is try to box out. You can't let DeAndre Jordan get 18 rebounds and still expect to win a game. So in the next few games, Portland has got to win Game 3. Losing Game 3 is the end of the series. And for the Clippers, keep attacking the basket. Portland lacks a shot-blocking center or a shot-blocking power forward for that matter. Now, the East has been a lot closer in games at least, not quite in series. In series-wise, both conferences are the same, but the games have been a lot closer in the East than in the West. The series have been closer because of how well the teams match up against each other. Take Cleveland and Detroit. Cleveland's only weakness, the 5. Detroit's main strength, the man out of UConn, Andre Drummond. So in the first game, it was a very close game. Kyrie Irving put up a show with 31 points, 6 assists, 2 steals, and the block that you see in front of you. On the other side, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope scored 21 points, 3 assists, and 50% from the field, which was great in a very poor shooting night for people like Tobias Harris, who went 4 for 11 and 1 for 4 from deep. And J.R. Smith for the Cavs, who really made it up in the second game, but in the first game went 3 for 9 from the field and 2 for 7 from the three-point line in 35 minutes. Not great showing, but he definitely made it up in the second game. The main reason why the Cavs did win the second game, though, was due to the three-point shooting. And you can see LeBron scoffing at Marcus Morris, who had a pitiful game, going 2 for 10 from the field with 5 fouls and 2 turnovers. But the three-point shooting absolutely destroyed the Pistons. J.R. Smith scored 21 points, going 7 for 11 from threes. He didn't have to make a single two. And J.R. grabbed 5 rebounds. Drummond put up a show for the Pistons, scoring 20.7 rebounds and 1 steal, but it wasn't enough. From the Cavs, however, one thing that they need to change is the bench production. Nobody other than 4 of their 5 starters scored above 8 points, and Tristan Thompson didn't score a single point, so that didn't really help. For the Cavs, however, they have to try and crash the boards. That's their one thing they have to work on, in addition to the bench, is Detroit's been out-rebounding them both on offense and on defense. And for the Pistons, you have to play more minutes. You have to make Andre Drummond play more minutes and feed him the ball more. And while you are trying to play more aggressive, you can't pick up these useless personal fouls. Now, definitely the most fun series of the Eastern Conference has got to be the 2-7. Toronto versus Indiana. Toronto, who had a great season, but Indiana have a great player in Paul George, who managed to shine again. In Game 2, Paul George scored 28 points, 4 rebounds, and 10 for 11 from the free throw line. But the Raptors were led by an unlikely hero in Jonas Valanciunas, who put up 23 points, 15 rebounds, and 2 block shots. DeMar DeRozan underperformed. Although he had this one great play, he did only score 10 points and went 5 for 18 from the field. Jan Mahinmi for the Pacers has been having a really off playoffs, going 0 for 6, but getting 5 for 6 from the free throw line. For the Raptors and the Pacers, three-point shooting was absolutely woeful. For the Raptors especially, who scored 27.8% from the three-point line. The Pacers, however, have to try and rebound the ball better. Jonas Valanciunas is an absolute monster, and they have to ensure that they get a body on him at all times. They got out-rebounded this game 33-44. In the 3-6 series in the East, we have Miami playing Charlotte. Charlotte arguably the worst team in the playoffs, and Miami's taking full advantage of that. Here we can see how badly Charlotte was trying to play in the first game. They just had nothing going for them. And the Heat walked all over them, winning 123-91. Luol Deng scored 31 points, and for the Hornets, Nicholas Batum put up 24 points and 2 steals, which was a great game for him, in addition to 3 3-point field goals. Goran Dragic underperformed, going 2 for 8 from the field, but he did get 10 assists. And for the Hornets, Marvin Williams has been absolutely terrible throughout this entire series, going 1 for 7 in the first game for 2 points in 26 minutes. Marvin Williams' misery didn't stop in the second game, as he went 0 for 10 for 0 points. Kemba Walker, however, did pick up some of the slack, scoring 29 points on 12 for 29 from the field. For the Heat, Flash regained his confidence or his legs and scored 28 points and 8 assists. Joe Johnson cooled down a little bit, going 3 for 5 with 8 points, and the 2 turnovers, one of them proved to be very costly, but however, the game was very one-sided anyways. It could have been very costly if the game was a bit closer. The Heat have to work on their fouls, though, because 25 team fouls in a game is not very good, especially when they're only playing 9 or 10 deep. Look for the Hornets to start either Frank Kaminsky or Al Jefferson, sorry. But Al Jefferson is on a minutes restriction, so don't expect him to get much playing time if he does start. And it's a very bad predicament for the Hornets to be in because their best player is on a minutes restriction, and everyone else is very young and inexperienced. Now, the final series is this 4-5 series between the Atlanta Hawks and the Boston Celtics. I expected this series to be much closer. However, Game 2 was very one-sided, partly because of the start that Boston had, and Boston really needs to change that if they have any shot at winning the series. You can't score 7 points in the first quarter and expect to get anywhere. The Hawks need to shoot better, with only 39% from the field is not very great. Kyle Korver, however, had a freak game, scoring 17 points, 5 for 7 from 3. And this shot, just in and of itself, represents the entire first game. However, the second game was very, very one-sided. Isaiah Thomas was the best for the Celtics, going 16 points. And the problem for the Celtics, however, is the injury to Avery Bradley, forcing Marcus Smart to start. And Marcus Smart has not been playing very well, especially in that second game where he only scored 3 points on 1 for 11 shooting. Now, if the Boston Celtics need to win anything, they have to go back to Boston Garden and pull that game through. Both games 3 and 4 are necessary. If losing even one of those 2 games would, in my opinion, cost them the series. So here I have my predictions for the next 3 games. I'm not going to read them out because that takes way too long, but if you guys want to, you can just look at them. And my previous predictions from before the game started. So please let me know how the video went. Any honest opinions would be very, very helpful.